string at home, so you could just set your prop table up like this. Just unfurl a bunch of string and then create your grid on your table just using some simple string to create your home bases for each of your props. Okay, so once you have your table drawn out, then you're going to put your props on it. You guys can just use any old household things that you want that you put out, but there's some rules that you have to follow. So if you have two identical things, they can go in the same box, okay, as long as they're being used by the same person. If two different actors are using the same forks, meaning the same kind of fork, but they're using them at different times, you have to put these in two different boxes because their responsibilities are to that actor, not the prop master, so you want to make sure that you put them in two different boxes. For our pretend play, same person is using both forks. For here, the plates, the actors are not going to be using those. In this scenario, it's just set up to help us establish a dinner, so they're not actually going to pick up the plate or throw the plate. So there are 4 of them here. We're allowed to keep those into the same box. But you'll notice here, if you can zoom in, you have 2 Coke cans. They are not identical. So you have Papa Coke and you have a Baby Coke. I love the Baby Coke. Okay, so if they are being used by the same actor, but they're not identical, then you really should be putting these 2 in 2 different boxes because they're not the same can. That way you can see if the end of the night one is missing, you know which one is gone. So it would be important to separate these out into 2 different boxes because they're not really identical. Okay, so now I've moved all the props into prop table here on the ground, which you guys can do too with some chalk or string, just to separate it out. The thing you need to make sure that you pay attention to is how you label your table. The item's name should be at the top of the box, or what we call the little home, and then the name of the actor who's responsible for the item goes at the bottom. Now, it's important when you're doing a show, when you label your table, that you're labeling it with the character's name. So in our pretend play, these are the characters' names that are in the story. That's because actors go in and out, and if we have 2 or 3 actors playing the same role, you don't know which actor forgot to set their props. So it's important that you put that character name down. That way you know exactly who forgot to reset their prop in case these were missing at the end of the night. Okay, so you're going to draw out your prop table, whether it's with chalk on the ground or using string like I showed you before, or draw it out on paper. Maybe you have some newspaper or wrapping paper you can flip over and draw on the back, but you do want to have your columns and your rows all planned out. Then gather up a pile of props, whatever you see fit. I love the Baby Coke, so I have my Coke can here again and enjoying one as well. Now it's time to label. It's important that you remember at the top of the box, we're going to mark ball. Underneath the item goes the character's name. So if we're talking about Grimm's Fairy Tales, we could say that this ball is for narrator 1, and we would want to label that here. And now go ahead and complete your table. So now we've set our props up on the stage where we need them to go. So this is how the table is going to be set up when we do our quick change. It's important to note that we put the gun here under the towel, and then we've covered it up because it is a murder mystery in our play, and we want to make sure that the audience isn't clued into the gun prior to it being unveiled by the actor. Okay, so you want to make sure as a quick change artist that you are presetting things correctly. So you'll notice here we have the 4 plates out. They are sitting at the edge of the table. The fork is sitting at the edge of the table to the right of the plate. The Coke can is directly in front of that fork with the Coke showing. I know you're thinking, why does that matter? Who cares if I just set it down here? Well, it could matter. It could be a clue in our murder mystery, and we want to have the audience be part of figuring out the clues for the story as well, and not just throw it up here and willy-nilly. Okay? So on this side of the table, same thing. We have our plates set right at the edge of the table, and the fork is to the right of the plate. So if we were doing a competition, which had we stayed in school, we would have run a prop change tournament, then someone who sets this up here with the fork on this side, that team would have lost points because they have to be accurate. It's super important that quick changes are done exactly right with this kind of detail. Okay, so once you get ready to do your quick change, you need to divide the props up amongst the backstage crew. That's important. And then preset them in your hands. Have them ready. Don't try to pick them up off of your prop table when the blackout happens. You want to make sure that you've preset everything so you can go as fast as possible. The three key elements for a quick change are being fast, of course, efficient, and quiet. So you'll notice in our quick change, there were a couple of areas like Rafe was coming over me to set the candlestick. So we probably should pre-plan like who's going what route first, because routes matter. You can save time by making sure that you're passing backstage, coming on stage, so you're not having to dodge people, because you do this when the lights are off and it's pitch black. You can't see what you're doing. So it's important to plan your routes. So we're gonna do it again and see if we can go faster. Okay, so that was a much better quick change that time around. Everything is sitting on the table accurate, and the gun is hidden behind the towel so it can be unveiled during the scene. So again, I want you guys to create some sort of little quick change. Design your prop table. You can do chalk or string, and if you don't have any of these things, you can always draw it out on a little piece of paper and write in the titles of your items. But do try this week to set up a little prop quick change and run it. So get your family members involved and see if they can do a quick change. Maybe run a little competition of your own. You run it and then have your brother run it, or your sister. Or have teams, mom and dad against the kids, and see who can make the prop change faster. Stick to just a few things, 6 items on your prop table, and or doubling up like what I did here with the plates and the forks, where you can do multiple things in a box. Remember, the same actor needs to use those if you're going to do it that way. So have a fun week. Enjoy your prop challenge this week. Don't forget to log into your haiku. There's a poll there. I would like you to take that for accountability, and have a really great week and enjoy. Miss you.